Liege Commander. And honestly, I quite liked Unknown's draft. It really felt like they could have taken that game very easily. It was their game to lose at a certain point, and well, lose it they did. I'm not sure how they're going to be affected by that loss. If the Summer's Rift series is any indicator, it won't phase them too much. We're going to start things off this time around with a Shadow Fiend Earthshaker for them and a Queen of Pain for eGamers.
All right, got a quick translation from the Twitch chat, which is always correct. Apparently the last message was, I don't know who told them that they could relax. So I guess Z-Talk a little bit upset that his team was kind of just playing as we just described. Hopefully now Unknown have calmed down a little bit, but Shadow Fiend Shaker, we saw the Game 1 Shadow Fiend from Dark Konoha just go off. And for eGamers, they're going to grab a Slark, who was previously second banned, and a Queen of Pain, who has been banned throughout this entire set. So this is going to be, at the very least, a much more different game for eGamers. Maybe they'll be a little bit more in their comfort zone.
The Slark pickup is going to be a very nice momentum-based carry for them. At the moment, Unknown don't have great lockdown for the Slark. Earthshaker is a good place to start, as you kind of said earlier in some of the previous drafts of this series, but not the end-all be-all. They'd like some sort of further AoE disable to stop Slark while he's out shadow dancing around. Probably the Lion, in all honesty, is the best pick for Unknown here if they want to pick up their support next.
Exactly the most flashy Lion in the last game, but you're up against a Slark, you need CC. You're up against a Queen of Pain, you need CC, and you already have Earthshaker, you said a good start, but you definitely need a little bit else. So Lion probably going to be choice number 1, and it wasn't banned out, so they might as well go for that one. Or a Clockwork, I mean, you can also kind of get away with initiation, like pure initiation, just overpower them before they can get any sort of time to react. But that's only like step 1. I'm thinking with this Clockwork pick, they're going to be more leaning towards Disruptor over Lion.
Yeah, I think that would be fair. Just some sort of AoE disable to follow up after the Clockwork cogs. And having that instant silence from Disruptor is also pretty nice against the Queen of Pain. Regardless, they do need to keep that initiation as well as hard CC at a premium in their next couple of picks. Scarlet Mage also wouldn't be terrible. For Unknown, comboing pretty nicely with the Clockwork, and if you can catch the silence on Slark before he gets off the Dark Pack, it's pretty good at locking him down as well, although maybe not as reliable as something like a Disruptor. You can't pack off the ulti.
Gamers, what do they want? They want a Vengeful Spirit. We had some questionable Venge plays up against the last game Shadow Fiend, but assuming that doesn't happen again, Vengeful Spirit is definitely a hero that you want to have versus a Clockwork. Your buddy gets hookshot in, you swap them out, you swap the Clockwork out, you get someone to safety or put someone in trouble, and that in and of itself is going to be of value for the eGamers side. Now CC, hard lockdown for Unknown, gonna be a little bit lessened as far as its quality, but still they have, I would say, most of the time the initiation edge with this Clockwork. Queen of Pain, though she does have mobility, Slark, same thing. Not really initiators of large-scale fights, whereas a Blink Shaker, Blink Clockwork, or I guess a Hookshot Clockwork, those heroes are able to do that.
Fair enough. For Unknown, let's see how they're going to follow up that Clock Shaker initiation cord. They already have a decent chunk of damage from the Shadow Fiend, and I really think this game should be just about hard lockdown, and maybe they even go for something like a... No, I was going to suggest a Bane, but that's probably a little too easy to pack off and with no other follow-up. But even a Bane wouldn't be terrible, I suppose. Just anything that offers a big stun, or Ancient Apparition is also good. Although it doesn't function in the same vein as something else that's going to offer CC, it's also a nice counterpick to the Slark, stopping him from getting that Shadow Dance regen.
And that's most of what Shadow Dance's value is. It's not the fact that you're not going to take any additional damage, it's the fact that you heal out all the damage you already took. And once you're hit with the Ice Blast, even if it's just point blank, you're going to be in for a lot of trouble. So Unknown, they so far don't really have a setup for this Ancient Apparition Shaker combo. They need one more hero to give towards the bottom lane, and then, you know, just put it all together for them. Most likely going to be one for MNZ or Dark Konoha, depending on how they decide to swap up those lanes. So Ancient Apparition, a pretty decent pick. And for the eGamers side, they have 2 pretty high damage heroes already. Their only concern should be not to get run over completely in the early stages. Yeah,
that is a very valiant goal indeed. At the moment, the next couple of picks for eGamers, let's see what they want to go for in their offlane. What's still available, however, inside the pool when it comes to reliable initiators? Ancient Apparition, Earthshaker, as far as a combo is concerned, is pretty wonky. The Earthshaker doesn't get great value out of the Chilling Touch, so most offlaners should be able to function reasonably well inside that lane. Maybe even go for something like a Centaur.
I'm actually liking the Phoenix run back from last game. Like, you look at the CC for here from Unknown, it's Earthshaker, and that's it. And in a defensive tri-lane for Unknown, unless they grab like a Sven or something like that, something weird, then the Phoenix is going to have a pretty easy time. And, well, Phoenix just providing that cover, just as last game, is going to provide just much, if not more, value to the eGamers side. So Phoenix would be a decent off-lane pick, or they could just delay that pick and just grab a Lina. Vengeful Spirit, Magic Missile into an LSA. That's a pretty textbook combo.
I actually wouldn't be opposed to seeing Unknown pick up a Drone Ranger. If they do go for the Phoenix, although that is banned out, it would offer the Gust, but they have heroes that do abuse the Precision Aura pretty nicely, most notably the Shadow Fiend. Even though Clockwork and Earthshaker won't get that extra damage, it wouldn't be the worst, although it is picking Dro into a Slark and Queen of Pain. Now that I think about it, that could end up going terribly.
10 seconds to go.
It's a risky move for sure. It probably would be a little bit too risky, unnecessarily so. There's a lot of magical damage coming out from the eGamer side. PL is going to be banned out. AM is a possibility right now. It's, you know, not exactly what you want to do versus Evangelina combination, but they're not going to ever find like that perfect carry hero. At least you very rarely are. You're going to be up against some weaknesses sometimes, but what do you think about the AM here for Unknown?
Yeah, that could work pretty nicely for them. Instead, it's going to be a Phantom Assassin. It kind of works in a similar vein, I suppose. A fairly mobile melee carry that is going to be able to do a lot of damage. This game, BKB is going to be pretty much mandatory, even though Lina and Queen of Pain will go through that BKB, at least eventually for Lina when she picks up Aghanim Scepter. Once she has that Blacking Bar, it's going to be very hard for them to actually deal with Phantom Assassin's damage output. I don't think this is the most reliable way for Unknown to go about this draft, but it's not a terrible one either.
So the new item, or one of the biggest new items, the Silver Edge, locks down and completely crushes Phantom Assassin. And Slarks have been known to grab Shadow Blades in the past. This is potentially going to be an item build-up that eGamers can get away with and completely and is careful of that, and just having an invisible Slark, that's also dangerous.
It should come through this game more than most. In general, this Silver is a great item to have on Slark. Any excuse you can find to build it is something that you'll be willing to take. So yeah, that is something to keep in mind as we go throughout this game. On the Radiant side is going to be Unknown. MNZ going to be playing on that Phantom Assassin. Z-Talk on the Earthshaker. Ancient Apparition by Excel. Shadow Fiend handled by Dark Konoha. And the offlane Clockwork. This is going to be greedy on the clock. He's played some very aggressive heroes to varying degrees of his success, but I think Clockwork's been one of his better ones.
On my screen, at least, MNZ is still in like the civilian Phantom Assassin, just sliding along. But on the EGX side, we got Pezodi on the Darkseer. Looks like he's going to be going in the 1v3 lane, but with only Fissure to slow him down, shouldn't be too bad unless he gets blocked. He's going to be on the Queen of Pain, and then up towards top, it looks like Pain, Slark, Wap's Venge, going to run that one back, and Guayo's Lina. Gonna be taking those three up towards top, and well, up against the Clockwork should be a super easy lane for EGX to execute.
Yeah, I think so as well. Bottom lane may be a little bit more precarious for them, as the Darkseer is going to have some difficulty dealing with the Chilling Touch. Although Phantom Assassin isn't going to be a ranged hero, and usually you do want ranged heroes when you're dealing with that Chilling Touch, Blink Strike is, or rather Phantom Strike is the next best thing. And if he gets caught up by a Fissure Block, there's nowhere to run. Their disable is pretty limited, and he's probably going to have a better time than the Clockwork, but yeah, it's still precarious. Top bounty rune going to be picked up by the Slark. Looks like Pain's going to be heading towards the safe lane with that, and Shadow Fiend will get the bounty rune in bottom. They'll pass up the bounty rune on the Queen of Pain in favor of a better block, but Queen of Pain actually misses it, so he's not going to get a major advantage inside the blocking of the creeps. In fact, it looks like he's actually going to get the lesser half of the stick.
Lane is usually pretty even, but if Dark Konoha is able to grab his first couple souls, and with, wow, level 1 Chilling Touch, there's almost 0% chance that... I had to say that. Never mind. I'm not even going to look at this lane. Shadow Fiend is going to get maybe something, but down towards bottom lane, Z-Talk is in a pretty aggressive position to go for a Fissure Block. Unfortunately for him, the block from the Darkseer is good, so blocks determining these lanes, or helping out these lanes a lot more than they ordinarily do, and Darkseer, up against these two melee heroes, expect a lot of this.
Yeah, the double Ion Shell creeps are going to be a constant nuisance. The increase to the duration of the Ion Shell is also going to mean that those are just going to be sticking around for pretty much an eternity. MNZ probably going to pick up a Ring of Health, even if he doesn't completely commit towards the Battle Fury. Just getting an extra sustaining lane is really nice. They're going to potentially catch out Bazzotti in the side. They have a fissure. Where are they going to throw it? He's surging out towards the left-hand side, and that's probably his best hope of survival. However, the block is nice. Bazzotti still should be able to get out of here, although maybe I spoke too soon. There is some chilling touch damage to be thrown here with 300 movement speed. Looks like Bazzotti is going to be able to run out of there, and now he does have another surge, and he's home free.
And he was able to just barely nab level 2 from random creeps dying in the lane. If he doesn't have that, he dies for sure. But also, like, he's just by himself in the lane, so he's getting a little bit more experience whenever a creep dies. MNZ, if he had a Phantom Strike there, that also would have been a kill after that secondary fissure block. But both those two things going right for the Darkseer, going wrong for Unknown, and they spend a lot of mana chasing down a target they don't kill. Granted, Shaker does still have one more clarity after having already started drinking one, so it's not really going to cost them all too much, but Darkseer is going to be able to get away with those cheeky plays if that keeps happening. So for this Darkseer, life is pretty good. Like, he's shoving the wave, he's getting quite a bit of experience, and when you have a Darkseer who's running at the enemy AA like we just saw, that's pretty much as good as it gets. And conversely, up towards top, Clockwork, he has 0 CS. He is 2.5 as far as levels are concerned. That's pretty good, but yeah, he doesn't have nearly as great a time.
Inside mid lane, even though Shadow Fiend did miss the first Chilling Touch auto attack, he was able to finish up the other ones that were offered to him. But regardless, this is going to be a really bad situation with the smoke wraparound. The Vengeful Spirit will find this kill. Can they get the kill and return an allied denial? Is a very slick play for the Earthshaker, although they still lose the souls, and that's a drawback for the Shadow Fiend. That takes away First Blood and is actually a pretty big play.
Now we're going to have to remember that it's still 0-0 the entire game. Thank you, Valve. But either way, that was a smoke being expended by WAP. He did invest a lot of time away from the top lane. Greedy got a little bit more experience, a little bit less pressure to him. And, well, that was also a potentially bad situation for the Queen of Pain to be in as well. If Dark Konoha was just one level higher, that would have been a kill on the Queen of Pain. But now it might be double raise after a fissure, and that'll be First Blood. A little bit of Justice Blood on Dark Konoha's hands over in the mid lane. And that's what you have to fear when there's an Earthshaker on the other side. We already talked about this during the draft. Fissure into some sort of follow-up is a pretty nice way of getting kills. And of course it helps that Queen of Pain wasn't healthy to begin with.
That deny from the Earthshaker and that subsequent kill set up by the Earthshaker completely wins the Shadow Fiend mid. Although he did lose souls the first time around, it doesn't seem to be phasing him at all. Darkseer's almost found himself level 4 and is doing slightly better than the Clockwork when it comes to farming as well as that experience, but for the most part that's a wash. The Shadow Fiend doing well in mid, however, is a huge boon for the Unknown side. Slark and PA are mostly on par for whatever that's worth, and the Shadow Fiend is going to be stacking up. 1-1 is our kill score on the board, but yeah, nothing but wins for Unknown.
Pain is holding on to 1200 gold right now. It is not uncommon to see Slarks grab Midas, although it looks like it's just going to be a Ring of Aquila for him. This indicates to me that Midas is no longer an option. Probably Aquila treads into that Shadow Blade into an eventual Silver Edge for him, but he's getting a lot of farm, and that's not something to underestimate. They're going to try to go for Greedy, Magic Missile, and away from WAP. Pretty heavy mana expenditure there. Without Guayo, they cannot get that kill, or I guess without Pain, they also cannot get that kill, but yeah, Pain is going to be going for a pretty balanced fighting build, and PA already does have that up. She's farming pretty much toe-to-toe with the Slark. This is going to be a super passive early stage for both these two teams, and there's really not that much in the way of rotations that these two teams can do, especially the Radiant side. An Ancient Apparition and a Shaker, not super dangerous, especially if the only target is a Queen of Pain.
Well, the lanes have slowed down and there really aren't very many rotations. The Earthshaker is going to constantly sit behind mid, but that's about all she wrote. The Clockwork with level 4 can't really rotate and look for kills, and the game is really just sitting in a very passive spot. Slark looks like he has shied away from going for that Hanamize, has Aquila and Poor Man's Shield all the way completed. Probably treads into that Shadow Blade and eventual Silver Edge next.
Well, at this point, we have to look at things that will disrupt this stalemate, because at a certain point, this game is going to break out of its lanes, and that point is probably going to come first at the Clockworks level 6. Greedy is not getting that much in this top lane, so he is itching just to leave, but he can't leave without actually getting that level 6 first. Hookshot is going to help out, but the build that he's gone for, 2 points in flare, you never really want to go for this build. You always want to be going for your battery assault if you can help it. It will decrease his kill potential once he does grab that level 6.
At least solo kill potential, but still this allows him to contribute maybe a little bit more towards the other lanes. I still think it's a reasonable twist this game around. One raise is going to connect in mid, the fissure and another raise. It's another kill for Dark Anoha inside the middle lane. The one raise fissure into the second raise has really been the undoing of the Queen of Pain in mid.
If you're the Queen of Pain, you at this point are like, there's no way the Shaker is still here. He's definitely on the bottom lane. He's definitely pulling, because that's what Shakers usually do at this stage. But Z-Talk has been just camping the mid lane the entire time. He's level 4, not too bad for a support hero at this stage. He's leading the Vengeful Spirit. He's par with the Lina, and Dark Konoha is cashing in because of it. We saw the impacts of the Shadow Fiend in game 1. He's going for the exact same build, Ring of Aquila into that mechanism, but it looks like EGX, he has died. Now he's going to jump in for MNZ. Sonic Wave is available. That will get the kill. That's going to be a very easy kill on this Phantom Assassin, who was taking chip damage the entire time from those ion shells.
That helps mitigate the fact that mid lane was lost so hard by the Queen of Pain and is going to propel them towards level 7, which is really nice for Ahi there. However, the Shadow Fiend is still running the mid lane, going for the mechanism build that's ever so standard. We're going to lose the Clockwork up towards top, killed off by the combo of just Magic Missile into Light Strike Rave, a little bit of follow-up damage from Pain. Although Pain dropped low, he now has his level 6, so he doesn't care that much.
Turn point that was going to happen for that Clockwork. She got a little bit too far ahead. Speaking of, in mid lane, I think I've seen that one before. Fissure 2 raises, easy kills pretty much every single time, and this time it's going to be an easy tower as well. That's a completed mechanism. 7 minutes 40 seconds. That's an insane timing for Dark Konoha. It is kind of a bad thing if you get it this early. You don't really have the mana to support it, but hell, he does have the item right now. If he gets a rune spawn, he will probably get this south rune spawn. He can just group up with the PA and just make a straight push down bottom, or look to start some sort of action, even on the top lane. This Shadow Fiend is big at this point, and for EGX, they have to burst him down. They have the potential to do so. They just have to make sure that all their skills land and actually execute correctly.
They already took the tower inside the mid lane, so I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for that play, and even without, the Shadow Fiend is still sitting on a lot of net worth. That mechanism, extra sustainability that it offers, is going to help him out so much this game, and really stops EGX from being able to kill off the Shadow Fiend reliably. 3, 1, and 0, and that one death wasn't even a death, it was the deny from the Earthshaker and that botched first blood attempt coming out from the smoke ink of the Venge. Things are looking pretty nice for Unknown, at least inside that mid lane. The Phantom Assassin, even after dying, is farming reasonably, and top lane, although not getting farm, Clockwork is still getting experience. I think at the moment Unknown have a slight advantage when it comes to the momentum for them.
We've seen this though from all the games so far for the set from Unknown. They've gotten a good early game. The second game, they were able to keep on going with it. The second game, they kind of threw it away, but they get the early game lead, and then whether or not they actually capitalize on that is where the game is really going to be decided. EGX, they still have the Slark, and Slark with the Shadow Blade is not as explosive perhaps as the Legion Commander that we saw in the last game, but it is very similar in how it behaves. If he grabs an item that lets him initiate, whether it's Blink or Shadow Blade, and then just goes around constantly getting kills, he can bring a team back from a very, very large deficit if he's allowed to get those kills. And that's what EGX at this point are going to be hoping for. I mean, they're still not doing terribly on their other heroes, but Ahi, if he gets a kill onto this Phantom Assassin, man, I don't have to worry about that at all, but they're going to dive at the wrong time. Dark Konoha is circling around. This is a Shadow Fiend with the mech, and Odie's going to get walled off by a fissure. One raise, no second raise needed. Ancient Apparition going to take that kill as Ahi does blink out.
They're going to transition this in towards the tower push because they can. The Shadow Fiend has that mechanism at the ready with more than enough mana to use it as well. Has a clarity rolling on him, dropped on him by a support if I'm not mistaken, which I very well could be, but they'll be able to double range down this 3 wave and take out this tier 1 very quickly. Slark up towards top is going to die to the Ancient Apparition, getting level 6 at a great timing window there. Will be able to partner up with the clock and get that kill.
The downside of going for this rocket player is that your hookshot kill potential is decreased. The upside is that your surprise assassination power with the H-Apparition is increased. So Slark overcommitted onto that clockwork. It was the Earthshaker, I believe, to bail out his friend, and well, that's just a clean follow-up kill there. So Slark dying to pretty much just randomly spam skills, and now the tower on the bottom lane is also going to die. Guys, just last minute, it doesn't matter, stop being cute. Shadow Fiend is going to destroy that tower. He has the mech, he has the power treads completed, and that push was a cakewalk for Unknown. For EGX, not even a chance to make that defense, and if they're going to give up a tier 1 tower like that on the bottom lane, they can only assume that they're going to do the same up towards top, where Blast going to go towards Ahi. He's going to blink right over the neutral creeps, so that blink position prevents the hookshot from connecting.
And it also prevents the Ice Blast from landing on top of it all. Unknown are still sitting on a lot of momentum, and Pain has yet to actually purchase anything up on the Slark, and if he dies it a couple more times, it's really just a straightforward push for Unknown to take away any map control that EGX might have once had. The tier 1 tower up towards top would probably fall just as easily if Unknown rotated all of their heroes up towards top. Whether that's a good move or not is another story, and I don't think they will go for that play yet, but if they get a couple of pickoffs, that could be absolutely different. Dark Kanoha, or the Shadow Fiend, is now going to go towards the Black King Bar, has an Ogre Club, and is going to continue farming at a much faster rate than the EGX heroes, just by the nature of how his hero works.
Doesn't even have a super amount of stacks in this jungle, but still the ease at which he clears them is insane. I think in this game, actually, I would have preferred if Dark Konoha went for a Yule Scepter. Mechanism, as far as their ability to push, their ability to team fight, is not that great, because they're just, first of all, not actively looking for those fights, because they don't have the heroes. Second of all, it'll be really hard to get mechanism usage if EGX are always with, a couple of heroes in lane and not with a full 5-man squad. So maybe a little bit of a better item option out there for the Shadow Fiend, but he's still getting a lot of farm, and no one EGX is really coming close to contesting that farm, let alone keeping up with that farm. Pain is going to be the one to keep up, and he's holding on to a lot of gold. This Slark is saving up quite the bank right now, and MNZ, he's potentially going to get jumped again, but EGX, they remember what happened last time they tried this. Did not work out well for the Darks here.
They'll again jump the gun, show himself to the creep wave, and that dive isn't going to work out at all. Then Assassin will continue farming it up inside her own woods. She's pretty much the one that's on par with the Slark, even though slightly behind because the Shadow Fiend is taking up the majority of their woods. Doesn't seem to matter, and there's an invis rune here on your Shadow Fiend. This could very easily set up a kill onto your Slark. They'll throw a couple of flares. They don't have an Ice Blast for 20. But, looks like they're just going to pull back. That's very unfortunate. I would have loved to see just a Requiem Ice Blast kill onto that Slark. Maybe I just hate that hero, but either way, EGX will fall back and continue the push down towards bottom lane. Looks like they got themselves a pretty easy tier 1 tower with the absence of anybody from Unknown.
Unknown kind of just messing around up on top. This type of play, putting the Shadow Fiend on the top lane, you would think they would ball up and at least try to take down this tower. With Shaker there, Shadow Fiend can put a lot of hurt onto this tower just by himself, but it will be slow, and it will be unnecessarily slow. So Unknown, they're going to try to mitigate their losses in the meantime, but over towards the Surgeon, Lina forward, Aki is going to land a counter strike. The L this is now the Ice Blast from Guayo. He's going to die to this one, definitely, with MNZ coming in to secure the deal there. Favor onto 2, and they're looking for a little bit more. Pezote is going to take a lot of damage, but he will get out of there, albeit barely. That's just going to be a single kill for Unknown. That was a surge from a little bit too far away, but at the same time, Unknown saw them coming with the Observer Ward, so it probably wasn't going to happen either way.
In the meantime, Shadow Fiend pushing up towards top takes a tier 1 tower for himself and is almost at BKB on top of the mechanism, which is an incredible amount of farm. You have that Shadow Blade up for the Slark, but let's see if it can actually get any value. Is there a sentry down in the mid lane from the Radiant side? Looks like the answer to that question is no, but they're still going to find Detox. The purge off of that Fisher stun is going to keep Pain safe, and he's going to pop the ulti and just run away home free, although if an Ice Blast connects, that could go very poorly, and it does, onto everything. The hook shot in towards the Lina, bringing her down low. They don't even need the raise to connect. Clockwork will smack her down, and that trade was terrible for Unknown. All they get to support Earthshaker. Slark was the only one that was having a good time.
Gotta say, Excel over the course of this series has been, I think, probably the most standout player from Unknown. First game with the Visage was getting a ton of farm. In this game, he's not getting as much farm, but he will have the Hand of Midas, so his farm is going to be guaranteed. But also these Ice Blasts. He has not missed many Ice Blasts over the course of this game, and he's only level 8. We're only 14 minutes in, and the fact that he's hit all these Ice Blasts, that last one super crucial as well. bodes very well for Unknown moving forward. So that's Slark. That first Shadow Blade, yeah, it got him a kill, but the plan with the Shadow Blade is to get the kill and then get out, not to get the kill and then immediately die. So now Unknown, they're going to be a little bit more prepared, or at least they should be in theory. They actually still don't have detection, so never mind. Shadow Blade's gonna let Pain maybe get another kill into Z-Talk. He's gonna go for a scout, doesn't see anyone but the Shaker because of that night vision. Now the initiation onto the Shaker. Fissure is there. Pack is going to save him a little bit of effort, but he does get the ultimate off right now. He does get a little bit of space as well. He dumps over the Fissure right now. Can they actually shot it? Eternal Sonic Wave gonna connect, but the mech that'll do next to nothing. And they'll kill off the Queen of Pain. Now it's gonna be Pain running into MNZ. Shadow Blade out, and he'll be just fine. They should probably invest into some sentries for detection. It seems like a good idea.
They have invested on some sentries on the Ancient Emperor's device board. They're currently flying out the Courier with the completed BKB and completed Battle Fury for the PA and Shadow Fiend respectively. Although they don't have them for that fight, these items are huge and not really reflected on the side of EGX with anything major. Shadow Blade's an item that you get to farm kills, but he's just not finding great initiations. 3-2 and 0 Slark is going to consistently fall behind to the flash farming power of the Shadow Fiend with his raises and the PA with now a completed Battle Fury.
You need something kind of mirrored on the EGX side coming out from the Queen of Pain and or the Darkseer. Darkseer has almost mechanism, which for 16 minutes in isn't the worst, but Dark Konoha has had that one for like 8 minutes now. And for Queen of Pain, she's not going to have an item completed for a very long time. The build up in the Aghanim Scepter, which I can only assume she's going to go for right now, is pretty darn easy, but she's just jumping in and dying every single time. And that's, first of all, a rarity for Queen of Pain. Second of all, a rarity for Queen of Pain when there's only one stun on the Unknown side. Somehow they're just getting the burst into her every single time, and it's working out perfectly for the Unknown side. But if this Queen of Pain can dodge death, if she could survive a couple of fights, then soon Aghanim Scepter will be up, and that burst damage is crucial for dealing with Unknowns here. As we can already see the burst the Slark is putting out. Add a Queen of Pain on top of that, and you couldn't assassinate anyone pretty much 100-0.
Up towards top, they're going to put some pressure onto the Slark, but there's nothing stopping Unknown from just keeping on and going with this push. They have a 10-second BKB on the Shadow Fiend. He doesn't really have much to fear inside this world. The physical damage from himself is okay, but far from enough to actually win a fight with Dark Konoha 1v1, and everybody else isn't really doing much to pierce the BKB either. You have the Queen of Pain with her ulti, which is coming off of cooldown soon, but it's just not close enough. The Shadow-Bladed Slark is going to be hunting, but doesn't find anything with this next rotation. It's more or less just time invested, where EGX aren't getting anything out of it.
He's still wandering around with his hookshot, has a blade mail now up, and he does have almost maxed out Rocket Barrage, or not Rocket Barrage, Battery Assault rather, so his kill potential is definitely up there, and he's going to run potentially into Guayo. They see this Lina, she's just dead, they might just snipe her out. There's the Battery Assault, and Guayo is going to die a slow death. LSI will land, but that's not going to do anything. Poor Lina, she's only level 7 at this point, and just the Fissure and Flare, that was like half of her HP pool. That's bad times.
Or maybe even more than that. She just can't find anything. The team can't set up kills around her, and her Laguna Blade and burst damage value isn't actually being shown. Shadow Fiend is going to find himself a regeneration rune, already up to 1200 gold on top of his already ridiculous levels of farm. And Phantom Assassin is pulled ahead of the Slark since she's had some quality farming time inside her own woods, where the Slark has been hunting and not finding anything with his Shadow Blade. They'll keep up the pressure onto these tier 2s, although they haven't fully committed yet. It's only a matter of time before Unknown find a pickoff or find a tower, whichever comes first.
Or they could just chill, like MNZ is working with the Battle Fury, so just naturally the Phantom Assassin farms a lot faster than the enemy Slark, and for EGX, if they're not getting kills, they're falling behind, because Slark can farm all day if he wants to, but in the end, if it's going to come down to a man fight between him and MNZ, Slark has no chance of winning, especially if an Ice Blast lands. And for Excel, so far the track record is pretty good, so you can probably bank on an Ice Blast landing at some point in the game. Slark is not going to be able to outcarry this Phantom Assassin and the Shadow Fiend by himself. He needs a substantial amount of help, and that help isn't getting that much farm. He has halfway to his Aghanim Scepter. Whoop-de-doo, I'm pretty sure nobody cares about that. He's just not getting enough. EGX need to get more kills at this point, and they have a mech onto this Darkseer. This should be the time where they're looking for it. But instead, it's going to be Unknown to look for the objective. It's them going into the Roshan pit. Maxed out presence of the Dark Lord, definitely helpful here, but this is representing the best chance for EGX to make some sort of aggressive play and get some kills.
Darkseer, a monster inside the Roshan pit. Sonic Wave, a great tool as well, but are they in position, or do they even know about this? Clockwork players are going to be constantly thrown out, and it looks like the answer to the latter question, do they actually expect this Roshan, is no. Even though they have a little bit of vision close to the Roshan pit, close doesn't quite cut it. They'll smoke up and maybe look for a pick off immediately after the fact, but there's already a second life for the Phantom Assassin. A little bit of a jumble of items in Phantom Assassin's inventory, currently a Mythical Hammer and a Belt of Strength. Probably a BKB and a Basher in their early forms of development.
That was also really gutsy by Unknown to go for that Roshan. First of all, just going for it requires some balls. Second of all, you know that the enemy Slark has a Shadow Blade. They had sentries, but they just didn't place them. That was like the boldest of bolds, and they're gonna go straight for a tier 2 afterwards. eGX, they're gonna try to go for this tier 1 trade. They're not super fast at pushing right now. At least they can't outrace the Shadow Fiend, so this tier 2 tower is definitely going to die to someone in the Radiant. Now the 2 Ds are gonna come back. Ice Blast gonna fly over everyone. A huge scouting tool from this Ancient Apparition. They will know exactly what they're up against and where. Hook shot in, gonna catch Wild Fissure as well. They're gonna blow up the Lina, swap back Greedy, gonna pulled right into the creep wave, but Wops the tower aggro. He's gonna die to the Echo Slam of Z-Talk as he goes for Ahi. He's gonna blink in fact, gets interrupted with Sonic Wave twice, can't quite get it off, does finally do so, but here comes Excel with the cold feet stun. Ahi's gonna pay the price as well. That was a shaker, a clockwork, destroying 3 heroes of eGX, and that was so easy as well. Big plays from those two.
To be fair, some help with the Ice Blast coming out from the Ancient Apparition, but yes, that's a really big fight for them. That's your Blink Dagger for the Earthshaker. Clockwork now at the lion's share of a Force Staff, almost has that completed. You have a BKB now for your Phantom Assassin, and things are looking so great for Unknown. Really, there's no silver lining for eGX, though. Slark is sitting on the same items he has been for the last forever, it seems. He's had that Shadow Blade for a while, and since then he's only farmed a Yasha. Maybe he can pick off this Ancient Apparition. It looks like Excel is finally going to end up he picked up his One Boost Driver, and Pain might end up losing his life in return. Tagged by the Ice Blast. He's going to be crit to death. His head is now rolling on the floor. That coup de grace doing 659 damage.
Not a bad total for MNZ right now with 11 armor hero. Yeah, that hurts like hell. Phantom Assassin pretty darn farm right now. An Ancient Apparition getting his ultimate off before he died, it's very easy just because you mash the buttons and things happen as the Ancient Apparition, and especially when you're point blank like that. But still, Slark going down right there. He got the kill, he bought the Ogre Club, and that's the big deal. He actually got something before he died, but he's going for a Sanjin Yasha. Even if he has that, I'm not convinced he escapes that situation. So it's a good item to have, but not the item that eGX need, especially when you compare the Slark's farm to what PA is getting, with 1600 gold on top of the completed, still taking 10-second BKB charge. Unknown just outclassing eGX in almost every aspect. And Ancient Apparition has completed his Midas, has had it for a little bit now, is gonna get a Aghanim Scepter eventually, plus level 3 Ice Blast, also a big deal. Pain gonna try to get into a man fight with MNZ, but you do not want to test the Phantom Assassin, especially when she has Earthshaker support. Phantom Strike in, not gonna put her on the right side of the Fissure. That's the first time I've seen that happen. That'll let Pain slip away. Got an Ice Blast maybe coming in. It's rolling in a little bit too late. However, Pain's gonna get bursted down. He's gonna pop his ultimate with a double raise. Gonna kill off, now jumping towards Wild. Big crit in from NZ. Gonna kill off the Lina. That Slark didn't even get hit by the Ice Blast. It was just, once again, sheer burst from Unknown getting the kills.
And they have so much of that too. That's your full basher up for the Phantom Assassin. There's just so much item progression for their team. They have these 10-second BKBs, and they don't even need to use them, which is very scary. In all honesty, it probably means that the item pick in and of itself is probably suboptimal, but I think it just goes to show how dominating they are inside this game, that they don't even need to fall back on that 4,000 gold item that they purchased up. It's just a safety net. Just going to wall Ruff's got a nice backing. It's going to get everybody illusions, and a Sonic Wave over the top of that is going to help. Phantom Assassin's critting herself, but still sitting on an Aegis of the Immortal. Blink and Echo destroys the Vengeful Spirit. Now they chase forward for the Queen of Pain. Ice Blast is going to get Exo. As the Laguna Blade, they'll lose the Aegis on the PA. Can PA come back and kill off these 2 heroes? It looks like the answer is no. Guayo, as well as the Queen of Pain, will make it back to base, as Unknown will continue this push.
A little bit of questionable decision there for MNZ to actually use the BKB. It was wall, vacuum, Sonic Wave. She's at 400 HP, then she's to get down 5. Pain has the mech, has the BKB. Requiem being armed up, and Ahi is going to take the full force of it. MNZ's going to steal that kill with the dagger, now going towards Pain. Needs one more hit to get the kill. Dagger, crit will get the kill, and it won't even crit, but it will still get the kill. It's a triple for MNZ, and now he's camping, getting down, wants to dive it, manning up. That is such an effective move. Dive tower, get ultra kill, win game.
And well played to Unknown. This game around, they do not mess around. They do not throw away any advantage they got. They play the safe game and now going to find themselves in a slot and with a shot to actually get into the main event of the International 5. It's still a long road ahead of them. A lot of very high priority teams